President Donald Trump announced a naval blockade of Iran. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Monday, April 13th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Over the weekend, Vice President J.D. Vance headed up an American delegation negotiating with Iran to end the war. He ended up having a very, very long night. The negotiations in Pakistan stretched over 20 hours. But despite that marathon session, here's what Vance had to show for it Sunday morning.
We've had a number of substantive discussions with the Iranians. That's the good news. The bad news is that we have not reached an agreement. And I think that's bad news for Iran much more than it's bad news for the United States of America.
Vance said the main sticking point was disagreement over Iran's nuclear program. But he said the U.S. remains open to diplomacy if Iran accepts what he called our best and final offer. President Trump, meanwhile, took a dramatic new approach yesterday to pressuring Iran that threatens to derail the 2-week ceasefire. He announced a naval blockade on all ships entering or departing Iranian ports or coastal areas, whether they are Iranian ships or vessels from other countries paying tolls to Iran to pass the Strait of Hormuz. The blockade is set to take effect at 10 a.m. Eastern this morning. Taking questions from reporters yesterday, Trump also attacked Pope Leo XIV. The first American pope has spoken out against the Iran war.
I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime. He's a man that doesn't think that we should be toying with a country that wants a nuclear weapon so they can blow up the world.
Earlier yesterday, Trump had blasted the pontiff in a post on Truth Social, calling him weak and terrible. Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell suspended his campaign for California governor. That's number 2. Just a few days ago, Swalwell was considered a leading candidate in the race to replace Gavin Newsom, who is term limited. But in an article published on Friday, the San Francisco Chronicle reported that a former employee in Swalwell's congressional office accused him of sexual assault. And hours later, CNN reported that 3 women accused him of sexual misconduct. Swalwell denied the allegations in a video.
A lot has been said about me today through anonymous allegations, and I thought it was important that you see and hear from me directly. These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They are absolutely false. They did not happen. They have never happened, and I will fight them with everything that I have.
Despite what he said, not all of the accusers are anonymous. One is on the record. Within hours of the reports, Swalwell lost key staffers and the endorsements of nearly all his major Democratic supporters. And now, lawmakers from both parties have said they would support a motion to remove him from the House of Representatives. A 2/3 majority vote is required to expel a member from Congress. Number 3. Viktor Orban conceded defeat in Hungarian elections. For the past 16 years, Orban ruled as Hungary's prime minister with increasing authoritarianism. Critics say he dismantled democratic institutions and restricted press freedoms and reshaped the country's political system to favor himself and his party. Orban described himself as a champion of illiberal Christian democracy, and he became an icon for right-wing populist conservatives worldwide, including in the U.S., where he has been a darling of the MAGA movement. Vice President J.D. Vance traveled to Hungary to campaign for him just last week. Orban was an ally of both Trump and of Russian President Vladimir Putin. But yesterday, he was defeated by a center-right candidate, Péter Magyar. It was arguably the country's most consequential vote since the end of the communist era. Number 4. More is being revealed about how the Department of Government Efficiency actually worked. It's been more than a year since billionaire Elon Musk brought in his allies from Silicon Valley to remake the federal government. But the public is still learning more about the shadowy group known as Doge, thanks to depositions and public record requests. Some Doge members were deposed in January as part of a lawsuit over cuts to grants awarded to the National Endowment for the Humanities. They described a lack of structure that allowed them to operate with little oversight or understanding of what others might be doing. And they described their use of ChatGPT to flag grants to cut. The Post has reviewed a significant portion of thousands of pages of documents related to Doge. To dive into our findings, follow the link in our show notes. More Americans are millionaires than ever before, but many don't feel rich. That's our fifth story. Here's a fun fact. Roughly 1 in 6 families in the U.S. have a net worth over $1 million. And average net worth in the U.S. is over $1 million per household, according to Federal Reserve data. But the people in this bracket don't feel as rich as they might sound. That's partly because rising prices have chipped away at the value of $1 million. For example, analysis by Zillow found that the average entry-level home in more than 200 U.S. cities is $1 million or more. And $1 million in the bank today stretches about as far as $480,000 did 30 years ago. The average net worth figure is also being pulled up as the gap between the wealthiest Americans and everyone else has widened. The bottom half of households are worth just $60,000 on average. Number 6. It's about to feel like summer in some parts of the U.S. This week, parts of the East will be hit with an early season heat wave. Across the mid-Atlantic and Southeast, temperatures will rise into the 90s. And from the Midwest to New England, people can expect 80-degree heat. For around 150 million people, temperatures this week are forecast to exceed June averages. In around 600 locations from the plains to the Northeast, high temperature records will be neared, tied, or broken. Conditions in the South and some parts of the East, where there is already a bad drought, could get worse as little rain is forecast for the next 2 weeks. This hotter weather follows the warmest March on record across the U.S. To see how drought is affecting the country, click the link to our newsletter. You can find that, as always, in our show notes. And at number 7, studies show you can cut your cancer risk by exercising. Mikhail Sekaris is an oncologist who has a history of cardiac arrest in his family. So when he was in college, he started exercising a few times a week to try and lower his risk of heart disease, and now he works out even more. What he didn't know when he was starting out was that exercise can also substantially lower the risk of developing certain cancers, especially breast and colorectal cancers. Studies show how exercise works on multiple fronts to reduce cancer risk in all kinds of people. I'm often telling you to get off the couch and get moving on this podcast. But if your reaction to that is, God, no, I am too tired, we can help you get motivated. The good news is you don't need to run an ultra marathon to make a difference. Plus, we compiled a list of ways to find the energy for a workout, like taking a power nap beforehand or exercising with friends. Find more of our tips in today's newsletter. Perhaps today, I will take a brisk walk. All right, you're all caught up. Make this the week you become a subscriber to The Washington Post. Right now, you can get a core subscription for just $4 every 4 weeks for the first 6 months. After that, it renews at $14 every 4 weeks. But if that's too spicy for you, you can cancel anytime. Subscribing is the best way you can support the work of Post journalists. Just head over to WashingtonPost.com/subscribe. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.